Hey everybody, welcome to. See, I got my podcast voice on right away, you know, but then it kind of fades out once I stop caring. So
I was
let's
just
try.
gonna say, then you faded out and then
Yeah,
started
then I
talking.
faded out. So I'm gonna start it again. Okay, here we go.
I'm
Wait.
not editing.
Okay, by the power of editing.
I ain't doing shit.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. I may need a co-host soon. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Deacon, HIP. And for those of you that don't know what HIP stands for, it stands for Hotter in Person. So, and I am here with my co-host, Ash, the Adrenochrome. And today we have some special guests. I know we announce them every episode, so for those of you that have already checked them out, they are now here again. Here we have Casey from Render the Darkness, with Fallon also from Render the Darkness. And if you look at their background, that's not here, but I'm gonna emulate one episode when they show the background. There we go. So today's episode is actually a really interesting one that some people have covered, but I don't think that it's been covered enough. And that is on, I wouldn't even say, like, a lot of people say singers, but I think it's just celebrities in general that have been replaced by lookalikes. And I'm gonna start off with somebody that's not a singer, but for example, Dave Chappelle, right? Do you guys remember the Dave Chappelle? He was skinny. He looked like he, had been struggling with AIDS for 10 years, super scrawny, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, people are saying that he's going insane. Oprah is out there talking about how crazy he is and all kinds of shit. So then he moves to Africa. I'm going to Africa, y'all. And then he leaves, right? And this was a guy that if you watched him on like early radio shows, he was very silly. He would perform stand-up like on the spot. Even if he was waiting outside of a club, he would, immediately start performing out there. He'd be like, all right, everybody, gather round. Let's start, and then he would like perform. Yeah, that's my impression of him. So he would start, performing, and people are saying he's hilarious, right? He's the what?
I said, I don't even know about that expression. It's close, but no.
Oh, you mean the impression? No, well, I think it's close enough to me. So he's like, gather around, everybody, So then he had the hat, right? And then people would actually chip in, and he would start like, what's the deal with New York City, everybody? And then he would start. And then when he came back from Africa, he came back not just lighter skinned, but he came back like thick, right? Like he was like almost like a bodybuilder. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about the way that when you physical exercise, some people are genetically bigger framed, so they're able to put on like muscle really quick based on their genetics. Other people that are thin, if you can consume like 80,000 calories a day and work out, you get very lean, but you don't get big. He came back big, right? Broader. And he was on a couple of episodes of the Joe Rogan show and other talk shows where he wasn't silly at all. He was just word. Yeah. So you go hunt. And it was just bizarre because his personality was completely different. And he wasn't funny. Like in those, like there was no silliness at all. There was no, even when somebody tried to get him to like act silly, he didn't bite, and it was just like so out of character. And then they talk about how when he started doing his stand-up, he would go on stage and he had like a little notebook because he had like written stuff down, when before he didn't write anything down. He was just up there like just being funny, right? Just like other comedians like Earthquake. And then he had family members of his that would say like, that's not him, and he had a cousin who was very close. And he even had pictures of him and Dave. And he went up to Dave. He's like, hey, David, what's going on? And he's like talking to him. And Dave like didn't know who he was. He was like, hey, do you want an autograph or something? And he's like, David, like what the hell? So then he thought that maybe it was stress. Like maybe he thought that it was like he's exhausted, like all kinds of shit. So he kind of let it go. But then when he went back to Philadelphia, he originally he's from DC. He went back to Philadelphia where he has a lot of family. They actually would go to his shows. And if you watch like old stand-up, like a Premium Blend and all those kind of things, he would point out in the crowd, I got family here in the crowd tonight, everybody. You know, here's my, you know, and he would like, you know, like acknowledge them, right? And he said that they filled the whole front row and he looked right at them and didn't acknowledge them, didn't know who they were. Afterwards, they tried to go backstage to like talk to him, you know, and security was kind of like, hey, you know, like you guys can't go. And then normally he would be like, let him pass, this is my cousin, you know, whatever the fuck it was. And then he just kind of like looked at them and just like went backstage, didn't recognize them at all. So it's one of those things where when you bring that up to somebody, they're like, you're fucking insane. Like, what are you talking about? That's him. Look at him. He doesn't look like him or act like him, but that, trust me, that's him. You know, so a lot of that is when celebrities or with just people in general, when they're replaced, like, why? You know, like what is going on?
Here's my question. Are the celebrities that are being replaced finding out information that they're not supposed to and threatening to release that information? That's what I wonder.
Or are they involved in something they're not supposed to be involved in? And the real ones are somewhere else doing something else while the replacements are keeping their image flowing in the public. There was a theory, and I don't know if this is true or not. It was a theory that Katy Perry was actually like in a prison somewhere for a long time, and that there was a replacement for her that was out still performing concerts, still doing music, still doing all that stuff. So, you know, there's theories.
When she got weird and people are like, why the fuck is she acting weird? You know,
she got very weird. And there's literally videos of her on stage performing, like where she like, and I've seen them. She actually glitches.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
And
like
she
her eyes
does this to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls her eye back to stop it.
Like she pulls on it.
Out. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw who the hell was it? Was it Britney Spears that she was like doing an interview and they said something and then immediately she like starts like glitching out and then she just like starts saying, she's like and then she just like immediately started carrying back on and people and they just like kept talking. So how's Kevin Federline? Is he still? I heard he's going to release an album called "Let Me Ride on Those Coattails." Anyway, so no, and then they continued the I'll be here all night, folks. So they continued the conversation as if nothing happened, right? They're just kind of like, so then I'm like, is no one gonna fucking ask her if she's okay? Like, you know, like nobody gonna ask her, like, are you having a seizure? Like, are you? No one did. They just continued with the conversation like it was normal.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of that.
Did get weird for a minute. Like she had a huge breakdown, so it would not surprise me if she's still like locked up in some sort of place somewhere. Like her videos are so off. Everything about the Britney Spears now is super off.
Yeah,
I saw her spinning around in circles the other day, and I was like, huh. You know, it was just so weird. Like, do I feel like Britney?
When you spun around in circles, she does that a lot right now.
No, I said she was spinning around in circles. It sounds like you're spinning.
Oh, I thought you said you did. I was like, did you?
No, not at all. I don't do that. I'm not a clone. I'm authentic.
Well, I will say this much. If Britney Spears is a replacement or a clone, she's still getting in trouble. She just had a DUI hearing like 2 days ago.
Yes,
so her clone is either really giving up her image or it's a terrible clone.
Yes,
it's a
shitty team. No, and here's I forgot to mention with the whole Dave Chappelle thing. Dave Chappelle, before he became buff, you know, he was doing. You guys can actually look this up. He was doing stand up, and when people said, you know, like people are like, "What happened?" Like blah blah blah. He says, "I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to tell you guys, but there's a book out there." He said, written by a guy they used to call Iceberg or something like that, who was a pimp in the 1950s. And he said the last chapter is basically all I'm saying is what happened to me. And if you go and look up that book and look up what he's talking about, it's about a hooker that wants to be let out of the prostitution game. So her pimp, which his nickname was Iceberg, and probably because he was so cool or he was cold. He basically told her, he's like, hey, if you want to be let out, you have to make me like one big score, right? So then he said, in this room, in this hotel, there's a doctor. I need you to go, engage and swap fluids with him. And then afterwards, when he's asleep, you're gonna put this in his drink. And when he passes out, you're gonna take this briefcase. And then that's it. And you're free. You're let out of the game. Right. And this is an actual book, guys. So for you guys who are like, oh, is that like it's an actual he was an actual pimp and actually wrote this book. So anyway, so then he said that this hooker did what she was supposed to, and this doctor started to like have a seizure in the bed, and she didn't know what to do. So then she runs out and she's screaming because she's like, I fucking killed this guy, right? So then Iceberg comes in and he's checking, and then he said he has a buddy that's a doctor. And the doctor came in and he's like, this guy's dead. So then he tells the hooker, like, this guy's dead. And Iceberg pulls the hooker aside. He goes, look, this guy was high profile and now he's dead. I'm going to move you to a different city. But in order for you to keep this secret that you killed this guy, you're going to have to keep working for the next 20 years for me. So he says, and I'm keeping all the money that you made. And then she was like, well, yeah. So then she decided, like, yeah, she's going to do it. So she went back into his service. And then in the book, he reveals the doctor was never dead. It was all a setup, and that's his way of keeping his hoes in check. So it was all a scam. He said he paid this guy like $100, who wasn't even a real doctor. Wow. And so the fact that Dave Chappelle alluded to that book, and he said, read the final chapter, and this is what happened to me. I'm not saying that he was out there like, all right, big boy, let's drop those britches. I'm not saying that's what he did. What I'm saying is that he was probably blackmailed into doing something. And then they're like, look, motherfucker, you want to keep this in secret? You're going to have to, learn to obey orders, and maybe at some point he threatened to like not do it and he got replaced. His cousin actually gives a really disturbing, he has a conspiracy of what he thinks happened. He said that there was meetings that he was going to, and they were saying all kinds of shit that he wasn't comfortable with. And they wanted him to sign something in his own blood. And he's like, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. And he's like, just don't do anything. Like, just lay low. His mom has actually spoke out publicly how she was worried about her son because he came back and he was behaving differently and, all that shit. So then he believes that at some point he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And he believes they killed him and they just brought this replacement. He says this fake Dave Chappelle, and he believes that he's dead. And that they just replaced him with a lookalike. And this guy's not his cousin. He's out there. He says the moment he knew that's not his cousin is when he went out there, he said, with one pant leg rolled up and the other one down, like he's in style. And he's like, who the fuck is this guy? This is not my cousin. My cousin hated shit like that. Like, why would he come out there looking like that? So, it's a dark conspiracy. But when you look at it and you start putting a lot of clues together, you're like, fuck, And I tend not to want to look into this kind of stuff because a lot of the stuff begins to add up. It's like, holy shit, like, I don't think this person is insane at all. This makes sense. You had something. Wild. You had something on Avril Lavigne, right? And not about the fact that she got really thick. I think it looks good.
No.
Her nose is different.
Yes. There's so many things about Avril Lavigne, but for starters, so rumor has it Avril Lavigne was found back in 2003 by her band members in her apartment. She had unalived herself. You guys can look up how. I won't say how because YouTube will probably flag it. Anyways, so before this, though, Avril Lavigne was already going through depression. She was not liking the whole idea of fame. She didn't like attention. Everybody saw her. That was not her style. So they already were bringing in this chick in. Okay. They brought this chick, Melissa, in to basically go out into the public eye for Avril, so she wouldn't be having to deal with everything. So when they found that Avril had unalived herself, here comes Melissa, here's the replacement. So they say Avril Lavigne was actually replaced like back in 2003. So like 23 years ago, which is wild.
Yeah, and there's a video out there. Well, I haven't seen it myself, but there's a video that people talk about where she's walking, Avril Lavigne is walking, and somebody is getting the attention of somebody on the other side where the crowd is, because this girl wasn't paying attention. She had her back turned and she's yelling, Melissa, and then Avril immediately like looks back, and then like somebody kind of like taps her on the shoulder, and she just like keeps walking, and then person waves at this girl, and this girl like looks over and then immediately starts like looking. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look up that video, but they said that it's instant. Like they shout Melissa, and she immediately like looks like if somebody were to shout your name, right? You're reacting. Yeah. You look, and it's instinctual.
Yeah.
I used to do this old joke.
Well, and they did. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh, so I used to do this old joke where you wanted to be like incognito, so you're walking and somebody recognizes you, and then they shout your name. They're like Deacon, and then you're like, yeah, I'm not looking. And then your neck is telling your brain like, we're in charge now. We're looking. It's like, don't do it. Don't look. Deacon. And then you look, and then vocal cords is like, we've run a coup. Now I've joined the League of Neck. What? And it's like, damn it. Your brain is like, don't do it. And so we're in control now, not you, brain. It's me and Neck now. No, so with like with this imposter, like it was just so they said that it was just like so quickly, right? Boom, it's like Melissa, and she turns and like it looks like she recognized her name. And then I don't know if it was a handler, I don't know who it was, but they came and they like tapped her on the shoulder, I guess, and said something, and then she just like kept walking, as if nothing happened.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, I'm not Melissa right now.
So what do you think happens? Do you think they take over like the full-on identity? You think it's a performance,
Okay, so I'm going to chime in and say what I think. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Beatles conspiracy with Paul McCartney, with fake Paul, right? So that dates all the way back to the 60s. So that's a really long time ago if it's true, for them to have started doing things like this way back then. So they've definitely had not only enough time to perfect it, but they've also had plenty of time to advance the technology that they use in order to make it happen faster, right? And if you take movies like Face Off, that was made in the 90s, that implemented the voice changing technology, and they could kind of throw that on camera as is anyway, the idea of it.
I could eat a page for hours.
Exactly. So these things have been kind of being thrown in our face for a really long time. So to think that by 2025, 2026, they hadn't perfected the ability to change somebody like that if they needed to or wanted to, of course they have. There's no way they haven't.
Damn. Whenever you say, like Face Off, I know that it's a completely different character. His name was Castor Troy. In that, the Nicolas Cage character, but I always think back to Cameron Poe in Con Air. Remember, he's like, now, Cyrus, don't shoot the bunny now, drop the bunny, and that's all I think. When it comes to Nicolas Cage, of course, we know that all of my lines are either whispered or screamed. And so, no, and when you talk about like how back then the technology was like, in the Beatles time, I'll do you one better. I mean, fuck, look at the 1940s or 50s when Joseph Stalin died of a stroke, right? In his bed, he had urinated himself, and all of his men are like, he had a stroke and I don't think he's getting up. So they don't know what to do, right? They're like, fuck, like, what are we gonna do? So then one of them proposed, maybe we should have his replacement. There was a man named Nikita Khrushchev, who ended up taking over, the USSR at the time, and he was a peasant. So what's funny about Nikita Khrushchev was the fact that he was a peasant, but he was a peasant's peasant, like to the lowest of the low. His job used to be to like move manure from one place to another. He couldn't read, couldn't write. So when he was delivering a speech to his men, he used these peasant gems of wisdom that only peasants would understand, because they're like, the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, so I digress here. So then with Nikita Khrushchev, somebody proposed, should we bring in instead the double of Joseph Stalin? You know, there was a man who his job was to pretend to be Joseph Stalin when he was going somewhere, just in case there was an assassination attempt. You know, his job was to go forward somewhere in public, and then if nothing happened in that same place, they would basically have him go all the way around, and then they would bring the actual Joseph Stalin. You guys can look this up. He was a double. Saddam Hussein did the same thing, but this was back in the 1940s, you know, early 50s.
Yeah.
And the technology, what's crazy is that we look at certain things like, what do they have? Like a giant machine to like, no, it could be as simple as a rubber mask. I mean, holy shit. Look at there was a video from the early 1980s of Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan was delivering his speech, right? He was talking, and then as soon as he's done talking, he pulls off his mask. And it wasn't Ronald Reagan. It was actually a woman. You know, it was a woman who was wearing the mask. And as soon as he pulled it off, and the mask had like I guess like hard plastic on top of underneath silicone, so it has like his bone structure and everything. And the voice was actually being voiced by another guy, you know, over the loudspeakers. So,
and that's what's crazy though, is like that's one thing you can't change for somebody is their voice. Like you can't do that with plastic surgery. You can't just change your voice.
And here I thought that I had you guys fooled. Like you Dave Chappelle? No, I'm not Dave Chappelle.
They did it in Face Off. They had the technology then.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you guys would be surprised the type of technology that they have.
Well, not only that, but have you seen some of the impressionists that are out there that are spot on perfect with their voice acting?
Oh, like people that are able to change their voice, but I'm talking like some of these doubles that they have for these people. Like you can tell that the voices are different.
They don't have the cadences, you know, like
no,
like when their speech pattern too.
When an impressionist, when he's doing an impersonation of somebody, he has like some very exaggerated, you know, like impressions, but it's not conversational. Like, for example, when you have the guy that, you know, like Mark Wahlberg out there, right? He always sounds like he's out of breath. He's like, so I'm telling you guys, we have to go. And I was out there and I don't know what I'm doing. And do you know what we're doing? I don't know what we're doing, you know? And it's always, and he's always out of breath, right? He's always like, I'm telling you guys all the time, you know, like that's not how he speaks, like in interviews. Well, yeah, he's just, you know, because that's how he looks. All right.
That was so good. It was, oh my God.
But what I'm trying to say is that he doesn't speak like that all the time. Like when you see him, you know, being interviewed, you know, by somebody, he's not, you know, doing that, right? Wanda Sykes used to have a show, and she had him on, and she was like, "You mean to tell me out there when you're doing your movies, you're doing your own stunts?" And he was talking like a normal person. He wasn't like, "Yeah, I did my own stunts, and I'm telling you, when I was out there, you know, like he wasn't doing that. He was just talking like a normal person." So I think that with impersonators, as if you keep it short, you know, I think that you may get away with it. But people that are like legit, you know, like fans, eventually they'll catch on. That's how you have all these videos. Like you know, if Johnny Cash was out there and he was doing like a bit, he was like, "Oh yeah, there I was down at Saratoga," you know, and he's like talking. People would eventually they'd be like, "That's not Johnny Cash," you know, because
no way he could be replaced.
Yeah, because you know. He's like, when I was a lumber boy, you know, and he's saying all these things. Like eventually, the cadence has to like kick in because you can't sustain that. So I think that one of the tells for a lot of people is also like, how come he didn't talk longer? How come he is acting like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to sound like an obsessive fan of anybody, right? But you're able to tell, because if you follow somebody's work close enough, eventually you're able to tell that's not them, right?
Yeah.
Like with the Jim Carrey thing, right? Jim
Yeah, I
Carrey
was
recently.
gonna bring that up because that was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't like being Jim Carrey, and like what Jim Carrey's like, and he was out there and he was like waving and he was like doing his thing, like it.
Yeah, and he was signing autographs with a different hand. And
yep, different hand, and he just wasn't like being himself, at all. He was just like waving.
Well, and he had even said, I think back when he finally decided to retire, that if he ever showed up at another reward show, it's not him.
Yes, even without a beard, I think is what he said. Like that's the tell. And he said that I think because he felt like I think the walls were closing in. There's a great interview where he comes out on the Jimmy Kimmel. When he comes out and he's like doing the Illuminati triangle, and Jimmy Kimmel looks legitimately nervous. He's like, "What's that?" He's like you don't know what this is. By the way,
exactly, he straight up called him out.
He talks about that in an interview where he says, "By the way, the laughter that you heard in the crowd was canned laughter. There was no people laughing. Everybody was just like, what is going on?" And they had an applause sign. They had a laugh sign on there that would keep like blinking, and people didn't know what to make of it. Like this, again, this person that exited the car, and it's like, look, it's Jim Carrey. He looks fucked up. Somebody asked him a question like, "I heard you were a clone," and he just like, just like laughed and whatever. I was expecting him to go, and then just like get in the car, or to go like flop himself on the ground. Hey, how you doing? None of that.
What do you think about the person that actually admitted that he was the one doing it? Like he had the mask and everything. I can't remember what his name was, but
I can't remember that either. But I remember seeing that article. Somebody came out and said, "This mask was made for me. I went there for Jim Carrey. It was a complete joke. Blah 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 blah."
Yeah, it was stupid.
I also saw Jim Carrey made a video himself where he came out and said that was not him, and he listed every place that person had been that was not him.
That is crazy because that is true, and I think that the people that are in control of a lot of things, I don't think they were counting on people being this smart or this devoted, like enough where somebody's like not the right hand, I don't think they were counting on that, so they're like damage control.
I think Jim Carrey is like one of the rare cases where he did it intentionally to prove a point. I think he was 100% on it, and even maybe hired the guy just to blast the fact that this is happening and people need to be paying attention to it, because he's been trying to call these people out for years on the stuff that they do.
I guess that'll make
I am on the same page as you. I think he was totally involved in it. I think he knew about it 100%.
How did he explain it though? Was he like out there and he like kind of laid down why he did it? Did he just did he say it like
he did it on purpose?
He did specify in the TikTok that I don't remember if it was TikTok, but the video that I saw that he did, he was like, at this event, that was not me. This event, that was not me. These pictures were not me. And he went on to explain that how easy it is for somebody to take somebody else's looks. And like he did like a whole spiel about how easy it would be to trick the public eye with cameras and makeup to believing there's somebody else, and that he'd been doing it for years with the characters that he'd been playing. He's like, I can make anybody believe I'm anybody on screen. Like that was kind of what he was leaning towards and what he was talking about.
I'm gonna have to watch that video. I'm in my head. He went, and I was over here, and that's where I went. That's why I did this over here. And if you look over, that's not me. That's where I went. I'm just like going off. He's like, and that's why I went over here, and that's where the club is, and that's what I do.
There's been all kinds of people trying to call everybody out for this kind of stuff for years. Like a lot of people don't like him. I love this dude. Take Ricky Gervais, for example. He has been calling them out for years of all the stuff that they have been doing.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember they tried to I heard a couple comedians that were out there like saying like, well, he was never funny. He was da 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 da. They're trying to discredit him because he legitimately said, he said, didn't he say that if ISIS came out with a streaming service, all you people would line up? like
Yep.
not caring. And then he also talked about Jeffrey Epstein. He said,
Yep.
he says, Jeffrey Epstein, he didn't hang himself. And by the way, he was your friend. Don't pretend like he wasn't.
Yep.
You know?
He's the one, Fallon. I showed you the video where he was at the awards ceremony and he was the host and he kept talking crap to all of the celebrities.
And Tom Hanks, that damn pedophile, was on there in the crowd and he was just kind of like shaking his head, like he didn't approve, because he did say, he was like, yeah, he was your friend. And damn, what do you guys think about the people that immediately start pushing different, like, okay, let me get an example, like Adam Sandler, right? Adam Sandler. Yeah, he's great,
He's amazing.
So,
He's amazing. Why are you bringing him into this?
Well, because he had a complete, like, so he used to be very liberal when it came to his views, and he was like, I think that everybody over here should, and he would just like do certain things. And then very recently he started coming out with some very conservative views, He's like, I don't understand why everybody should, and he's like, and then people are like, why did he change his opinion? Like, did he get so high up that at some point he saw everything for what it was? And he's like, I'm not doing this, like I have a soul. And then very slowly but surely, some people are beginning to kind of say like, well, Adam Sandler, he's not very funny, or he was never, and they're like criticizing him. And I think that just comes from them slowly beginning to kind of discredit him, because unfortunately we live in a time now where if social media teaches you to hate somebody, and this is what and I'm going to say this and I have no apologies for it, but I think that if you're a male feminist now, or if you're any of these things back in 1936, you would have definitely been a Nazi. Because remember that what Nazis did is they went along with what was socially acceptable. Anything that was socially acceptable, I am on board. With these people now that are saying things that are like not just unconventional, but like, I'm a male feminist, I believe, da 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 da. Did you really come up with that on your own, or did social media tell you that this is how it should be? When social media tells you to hate,
is such a huge influence right now, and it's honestly disgusting.
Yeah,
like I know so many people that are getting like their news from social media. I had to tell my mom the other day that the video she was watching was AI and not real.
That's crazy. They're like, Donald Trump wasn't out there fighting a shark.
No, it was a giant wave coming at the country of Brazil. And I looked at her and I was like, Mom, if this was real, do you really think all those people would just be standing there and not like running from the
or
wave?
maybe they were like, shit, come on over here, I'll show you how I go with my guard, like waiting to fight the wave. No,
I've had to tell her quite a few videos are AI.
Yeah, like can you imagine there's a video out there of Trump out there in an Empire State Building, like swatting planes, or like, look, Trump hates planes. He's like, these planes are gay. Wow, these planes are gay. And he's just like, but that's just I'm not going to get into politics, but I mean, it's a perfect example of certain people being trained, and I'm going to say it, just being trained to hate, right? Being trained to, and if you don't toe the line, and I think that's probably what happened to a lot of these celebrities. It's like, look, man, you need to toe the line. If you don't toe the line, we're going to discredit you and people are going to hate you. And if that still doesn't work, we're going to fucking replace you because you're replaceable.
Scientology. Sorry.
We have Scientology. What are you talking about? Tom Cruise? Like, why do you sprint in every single one of your movies? Like you're always sprinting.
No, the research that I have done on this week with all of like these celebrity clones, all of it has been linked back to some form of Scientology or someone linked to Scientology that's doing this. And it's freaking wild.
It's
because like
oh,
I was reading that there's so many celebrities that were actually like born into it. Who was it? Emily
like
Armstrong, the new lead singer of Linkin Park.
there's a lead singer of Linkin Park that's a woman.
Yes, she is the new lead singer of
thanks.
Linkin Park. Okay, she was born into Scientology. Her mom wrote the speeches for one of the leaders of Scientology, and you will hear her say, "Oh, I'm not that involved. It's just something I do. It's a hobby. They gave me lessons. They did this and this." Bitch, please.
Wasn't there something with the president or the leader of Scientology, Miscavige, whatever the hell his name is, and who the wife, I guess she wasn't fully on board, and people suspected that she wasn't as involved. And one of her crimes was that he was giving a speech, and then she yawned, like she was, tired, and then immediately she disappeared, right?
Yep.
And and you guys can look that up, like Leah Remini, who's she's out there. Yeah, she is out there like still to this very day, like trying to place like missing person reports. She's like, where is she? I haven't seen her since this day. Yeah. And she even made a claim that there was that he was like holding hands with a woman and looked just like the woman from behind, right? But then like if you got close enough, you're like, this isn't your wife. But they were calling her like by the wife's name, and then after that, like wife's gone, and he's like, where is she? Almost like they were trying to replace her, and then like people noticed too much, and it's like, you know what? Let's just get rid of the clone. Let's get rid of her.
I just have a thought.
What did you thought?
When you're done, I have a thought. Oh my god.
No, I'm done. I'm done with this podcast, actually.
So Scientology, okay? You guys all know how they have like that giant facility where they take people to like put them in the hold is what it's called.
Yeah, and they beat them.
You guys heard that?
Yep.
Okay, what if these celebrities that are being replaced are actually being held up at this Scientology facility?
I heard that. I've also heard that they're being held like underneath the Denver airport, because they've seen celebrities like walk in like, hey, isn't that fucking, I don't know, fucking name whichever comedian. They never come out. Like Bernie Mac, they're like, we saw him at the Denver airport and he was over there like, look at this scary ass motherfucking horse. Think I'm scared of you, motherfucker? And he's like talking about this, whatever. And then he gets led like through this whole thing, and people were saying like he never like landed anywhere. People that work for the airport, they're like, yeah, he never got on any plane. He just fucking disappeared. And then like days later, it's like, oh, by the way, Bernie Mac passed away. And it's like, what do you mean? Like he passed away? Like he went into this room, which is like unauthorized, and they just never came out. So I wonder if they kept them there, and then maybe and this is all conspiracies, guys. Maybe they killed him. It's just creepy shit like that. And what's scary is that you can say these things and people will laugh at you, because, even though there's evidence, you show them evidence and they don't care. People just don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Like, back to the Avril Lavigne thing, you had a video. I don't know if you ever got it that I sent you, but there was a video of her like trying to sing.
Another video clip. Okay. So here's the first thing I want to show with Avril Lavigne, though. Okay, so before I show this, before anybody says anything, yes, I understand plastic surgery is a thing, but there are certain things with plastic surgery that you cannot fix with your face. Okay, there's certain natural features you cannot fix. So let me add this to the stage as soon as it goes. Okay. So exhibit A. Okay, look how much this girl's face changed. So this between your eyes, you cannot fix that with plastic surgery. Okay, where that question mark is. Yeah. Yes, you can get an eye lift. So the part above her eyes, that's possible. I don't think the nose part is possible, and I don't think this mouth part is possible either with plastic surgery.
Yeah, I also don't think they could separate your eyes like that because,
No, that is impossible to do. You can't. There's certain things you cannot do with plastic surgery, and that's what's wild to me is how different she does look. You can tell it's a different person.
Also, the hairline's
and you don't think it's
right?
a different person, you have problems. And then I had that other video clip. Let me pull that up. So this one I found, and it is, as soon as my screen loads. Okay, so it's of her singing, and this is back to the voice fluctuation. There's just, you can't change your voice. And I've done singing myself, and yes, I understand your voice does get tired. Your vocal cords, yes, they do. Certain shit in your voice does change. But when your voice changes like that, your voice is going to go deeper. It's going to go more raspy, and hers does not, which is the weird part. So as soon as this comes up,
cultured swine.
Okay, I'm going to start it over and edit that. Okay, so this is the original Avril at first singing, and then the second one will be the knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Difference?
Oh, wow.
Her voice is higher pitched. Your voice is not going to go higher pitched over time. It's going to go more raspy because your vocal cords are constantly rubbing together. They're getting
rubbing up against each other.
Yeah, that was a pretty substantial
so her voice
difference.
going more higher pitched, that does not make sense.
Yeah, and I will say, they're both terrible. But anyway, but yeah, that's a weird thing. Is that
fight you.
Take it easy. Next week it's gonna be
Next
somebody
time I see we're fighting.
Kind of looks like Ashley
officially
Oracle, but they'll be
fighting.
like, "Is that her?" Like, I don't think that's her. Look, this complete skull is different. Anyway, so no, what's bizarre is that
over.
it's that well, I mean, wait till I get the clone. So yeah, so what, like you were saying, is with the vocal cords over time, like you do see celebrities that have been singing for years, especially some that do a lot of live events and they yell a lot, that they have to yell. You do see that their voice is slightly deeper or more raspy. Their voice doesn't get higher pitch and smoother. You know, I think that they should have just, with Avril Lavigne, I think they should have started off with the clone. I think that her voice is better.
Hey, you know what?
Well, to be fair, she was supposedly married to Chad Kroeger for like 4 or 5 years, so maybe he gave her some singing lessons and taught her how to sing like him.
I don't even know who that is.
The lead singer of Nickelback.
Oh.
Yeah. How does he know?
I don't know who that is.
It's only one of the lamest bands of all time, but we all admit that we listened to a song or two.
No, I like them. I don't know, I don't know their names, but I think they're great. You know,
I like.
Oh no!
Like anybody that I think that the reason why there's so much, you fell into that propaganda thing with social media. The reason why people hate Nickelback is because they got really popular really fast, and all these people, these other bands are like, these motherfuckers are already making millions of dollars. They've only been singing for a year. It's like, yeah, because they're fucking good and their music's awesome. It took you 10 fucking years because you're fucking awful, But they started spreading.
Here's my reasoning. Okay, so when I was in high school,
right when I needed you the most.
No, I was not into that kind of rock. I was into like the punk rock. I can't
do that. My voice is deep.
I was into like more of the Avril Lavigne, Blink 182, like that Nickelback. I was just like, no, I can't. Linkin Park. I didn't even listen to Linkin Park really until like probably 10 years ago. I never really listened to them.
I always feel like Linkin Park was always the same thing. It's always like, listen to my song, and it's all like the same shit. It's like, you sang that song already. Like, fucking, isn't that the last track? Like, no, the words are slightly different. It's like, oh, okay.
I like Linkin Park as well.
I don't like them.
I was gonna say
with Blink-182. What do you guys think about the messages? What the hell's the lead singer's name? That fucking guy that just went on.
Travis Barker is the drummer, right?
Yeah, that's all I know. I know Travis Barker, the drummer.
Oh, fuck. What is that? Damn it.
If we were talking about Good Charlotte, I got you. But Blink-182, I don't.
So
one of them named Tom.
Tom DeLonge is his name. Oh, it's shitty. It's shitty enough that your fucking name rhymes, right? Tom DeLonge. It's like, all right, fuck. You might as well be named Tony Baloney. Anyway, so with this guy. His music, if you listen to it, he's even come out and said it himself. If you listen to his music, he's actually revealing secret messages that has to do with aliens. So he talks about with aliens. Like he talks about how
said something else.
Like what, illegal aliens? Like, yeah.
No, I thought you said AIDS.
What's funny about that is if you play a Nickelback song backwards, you get messages from the devil. And even worse, if you play it forward, you get Nickelback.
Okay. I like Nickelback.
That was awesome. That was stupid.
With the $1 million body. Anyway, so yeah, with Tom DeLonge, he was out there and he was talking about how he was recruited for like a secret like CIA program. And they're like, listen, it's time that the mass, because he was influenced by a book that was written in the 1970s. It was called Secret Machines, and it was talking about technology that came from space. And there's another book, I can't remember what the book was called, but there's a great quote out there that from that book that says, for we are the sex organs of the machines, which is true. We just make more stuff, and AI just gets better and better, and they can't reproduce, so we make it for them. We are the sex organs of the machines. So anyway, so Tom DeLonge read the book Secret Machines, and he immediately started saying, like, there's a whole secret fucking message written here. So if you listen to his songs, there's like a message there, which when I was younger and when I was a kid, and his song, I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? Like the song that's like, there's something in the back room. I hope it's not the creatures from above. You used to read me stories as if my dreams were boring. We all know conspiracies are dumb. So that song, it's like, what the fuck's he talking about? And it's like, well, yeah, like the creatures from above, the aliens, and then people like instead distract you, like you started reading these stories as if my dreams were boring. Like, hey, don't think. Let me tell you some stuff, So
now he has that song in my head.
It's a good song. I like it. Anyway, so he talks about how there's all these secret programs, but then at some point, I think it was on the Joe Rogan show, or it could be another long. But he said at some point he's like, "Well, I better kind of rein it back a little bit." He says because I don't want to go missing, and everybody laughed. But then the way he said it was kind of like, I don't think he was joking.
I don't think he was.
Probably not.
So and yeah, then he's gonna be replaced by a woman.
They say Selena Gomez was replaced.
Yeah, but no one noticed. Who cares? Over there crying for those immigrants. Get the fuck out of here. Go back to Mexico. But that's what it is. Huh?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I'm trying to be careful what I'm saying on here, because I'm not trying to get disappeared either.
Yeah.
No one watches this fucking show. The show's awful.
Okay. Hey, you'd be surprised who's listening. I was in my car the other day. Me and my husband were in our car the other day reminiscing about the show Double Dare with Mark Summers that was on Nickelodeon. Y'all remember that show? Where they used to get slimed if they got the answer wrong?
I loved that show.
Okay, so you have not seen that show since I was a kid, and we were reminiscing about it in our car. Came home that night, turned on our TV, and the first suggestion we got from Peacock was for Double Dare.
Hey, I saw on your TV too, like yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. You never know who's listening, when they're listening,
they are
how they're listening.
Always.
It's the phone. Even if it's turned off, they're always listening. So like if you're
still listening.
If you're
so I'm being careful what I'm saying, but I'm also still trying to get my points across.
A lot of people, the mistake that they make when they go when they run from the police and they're fugitives, the big mistake that they make is that they get rid of their primary phone and buy a burner. The moment that the system picks up that you're buying a burner, now they're tracking that phone. So the best way to disappear is, number one, get rid of your phone. Number two, don't keep driving that fucking vehicle that has a computer in it, because that's tracking you. And the signal is actually bouncing off the cell towers. That's why they're able to track you.
I'll keep my 2016 Buick.
Unless your vehicle is like pre-1983. I think, it's all mechanical.
Hey, my car doesn't have a computer in it.
It doesn't? Why?
No.
What is it?
It's a Buick. You've seen my car. It does not have a computer in it.
What year is it from?
It's a 14 or a 16.
It has a computer in it.
One of those touchscreen bitches.
No, that's not what the computer is.
What are you talking about then?
So every car has a
power window.
New age shit.
Yeah, that's the thing right there. So the computer in your car. The computer in your car is actually a box that is what controls every single electronic thing in the car. Its job is to regulate signals within going back and forth, everything from thermostats to the oil pressure and all that kind of shit. So that when it goes, that is the computer alerting you that there's something wrong or that it needs something. If the gas light comes on, guess what? Your car has a computer. So it's
a 2014 Buick got portrayed for 1970 anything.
I would go 60. Anyway, so back to the topic. So when you look at these kind of people, like, I wonder if in the end, like for the people that are replaced, like let's say somebody replaces, I don't know, when they replace Avril Lavigne, do you think that they're proud of what they did, or do you think that they're kind of like, fuck, I can't believe that I replaced Avril Lavigne? I have to go out there, shake my ass with a short skirt. So yeah, I filled out, but still,
Depends
and then
the person.
do you think they love the attention?
Depends on
the
person.
They might like the attention.
You think they like the attention? Like, let's say that they, who the fuck do I look like? Okay. I look like every single person that's out there on the side of the freeway selling oranges. If they,
You must really think you look like that.
So let's say that they're like, listen, the best tamale salesman out there, we have to get rid of them. You're going to replace them. Your only job is to sell these tamales. You're not going to make them. That guy, he made whatever. And I'm out there, and then they're like, everybody's like, wow, your tamales are amazing. I'm not going to fucking go home feeling proud about myself because I didn't do anything. I'm just like in person. You know what I'm trying to say?
Hey,
like,
yeah, but I mean, if the person that like took over, the other person's actually like doing the singing, doing the dancing, doing that kind of stuff, they're actually doing it. So
I'm out there like swinging the tamale bag and trying to get people's attention. Like, hey, look at these fucking tamales.
Take that Avril Lavigne case, for instance. Melissa was hired. They say Melissa was hired before Avril Lavigne even.
Oh, you know what?
Clearly, she likes the attention.
I remember they were talking about that if you pay attention to like Avril when there was always a girl that was with her or near her. They're saying like, yeah, that's Melissa right there, and it was almost like, look at her mannerisms, like maybe it's that kind of shit, right? Like look how she does things. Like she's not on stage shaking her ass with a short skirt, and she's like, don't tell me.
Avril was not like that in her early years. Like
no, so like. I wonder if at some point they get sick of it. Like, I'm fucking sick of this lie. I don't want to do this anymore. And then all of a sudden, that's when they disappear you. Like all of a sudden, like she passed away, or like we don't know where she is. So that, and I wonder if it's like a daily thing where they remind you, right? Like, hey, you're gonna go to Berlin and you're gonna sing, and if you say anything, you're gonna, that's. Or like if you fuck up, that's not a life you want to live. I don't think.
Well, I mean, look at how long they say Avril's been gone for. So if she has been gone since 2003, she's technically been gone for 23 years. So you would think that person would sort of, it's almost like acting.
Yeah, but didn't Avril like kind of ghost for like 10 years? She just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I forgot.
She was struggling with her Lyme disease.
So like that would be an opportunity for that Melissa girl to kind of go undercover again and kind of maybe live her own life for a little while and get a break from being in the limelight and get
live
a break
her life, visit her family, right? Like visit
like
family.
Maybe that's a stipulation of the thing. Like, hey, I'll do this, but like also I need to be able to stay with my family. I need to be able to have these mini stints where I have a break and I have an opportunity to. All I know is if I make $100,000 a year and somebody's like, hey, you look like Deborah Messing, you want to make $1 million to be her for a few months? I'd go be Deborah Messing.
Who's that?
Sure.
Sign me up.
I don't know who that is.
She plays Grace on Will and Grace.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
She's great.
But Karen.
But no, not Karen.
I've never seen that show.
You've never
Grace?
Seen
oh, okay. Well, I like Grace too.
Red-haired Grace, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna look her up really quick.
Will and Grace.
How about Karen?
I forgot the name already.
Deborah Messing. But it was just an example of somebody that just popped into my head randomly. But my point is, if somebody offered me a jump in my salary by $900,000 and all I have to do is impersonate this person, and live in their house and have their bodyguards and have their fame on top of the money, I'm in. I'm all in.
Down. My kids' education's paid for life. I can buy
you do kind of look like her. That's crazy.
Pay off my mortgage. I'm down.
Yeah, me too. I'm in. Like I
can't imagine money to pay off my debts, and I'm in.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of people that wouldn't jump on that bandwagon.
Is this really her now? Like I heard that. Look, there's pictures of like her before, and then she looks normal, and then all of a sudden she looks like they injected her with like plastic.
Hey, you know what though? A lot of those celebrities that have changed and shifted and looked so dramatically, and I know I said I was trying to be careful on what I was saying here, but I'm going to say this part, and I don't care who hears it. Ozempic, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You do kind of look like her.
Ozempic.
Dude, I know people personally that have taken Ozempic, and it is the most disgusting thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
This is what she looks like now.
Yeah, there's no way. She's like 60. There's no way she looks better now than she looked 20 years ago.
Yeah. There's no.
And all of these actors and celebrities who just don't age. They just don't age. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to bring it back to the.
You're not supposed to say the name.
I'm sorry. I said you can edit that out. Say it out. The A word. The A word. We all know what I'm saying. There's a reason they're not aging is all I'm saying. There's a reason they're going backwards and everybody else is going forwards. They're not Benjamin buttoning themselves, all of them.
Like if you're talking about like that logic, do you I'm just going to ask you, do you think that Paul Rudd's involved in it at all?
No, I just think he's a beautiful soul that just was born to never age.
Yeah.
I think that
I
well,
think
here's
the
the thing.
same.
Okay, so there's
Don't bring
celebrities out
Ant-Man
there.
into this.
Well, I'm just saying
celeb-
that dude.
Well, okay, if you look at Paul Rudd from like the 1980s, he looked 50 then. So it's like there's celebrities out there that just always look old as shit.
dare
And then
you.
so that I mean, it's a fact. Look it up.
Paul Rudd is
How
60
you have a
now, and he
free
still
account?
looks like
How
he's
dare you.
25.
Well, I mean, that's
Thank
what.
you.
Well, he doesn't look 25. All right, fucking take it easy. What kind of?
I'm gonna kick you
shit-
off this stage.
What kind of? What kind of shitty genetics are you looking at? No, but like somebody like Paul Rudd.
He's beautiful.
I mean, when
man.
he was, I think he was in a movie where he was like 17 years old, and he looked like he was in his 30s. And I don't remember what fucking movie it was, but I remember seeing him, and he's like, "This is a really old Paul Rudd movie." He was 17 in this, and then I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's 17." I thought he was like 35. I thought this was like a movie in the 2000s, you know. So there's celebrities that they just stay like looking. I don't want to say they've always looked old. Kind of like if you do you guys follow wrestling at all?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
I do.
Okay. Do you guys
No.
remember the fabulous Moolah? Who was a
No.
monster, by the way. She was an older wrestler from 1950s, 1960s.
Oh yeah. No.
But there was pictures of her when she was, this is the fabulous Moolah when she was 25. You look at her, she looks like 56, and you're like, oof, And then they called her like the ageless Moolah because like she looked exactly the same like she did back in the 50s. It was like, oh yeah, because she looked old as shit, So but I see what you're saying when it comes to certain celebrities, how they don't seem like the conspiracy that Nicolas Cage is a time traveler, because there was pictures of some creepy guy in a bow tie who looked just like him.
I can't watch any
There's
movie
so
with
many
him
of
in it.
those.
Yeah, like Tom Cruise. There's a lot of pictures.
Leonardo
Back in
DiCaprio. There's a
the day.
picture of
Yeah.
somebody, like in the 1800s that looked just like him. Like, there's so many of them that are like the conspiracy theory of time traveler, the conspiracy theory of like vampires or
I'm
something.
gonna go with that one.
Vampires?
Yeah, like Keanu Reeves being a vampire, or
Yep.
All right. Okay, Keanu
Kourtney
Reeves.
Kardashian's a
Okay.
vampire. Who
So
else
with
is a
Keanu
vampire?
Reeves, he looked the same for like I would
love
say 10 years, but then this last year, it looks like he was hit by like Father Time driving a car. Like all of a sudden, he's like boom, aged. I saw the
if
movie.
He's a vampire. He can bite me.
It's kind of looked like him. So there was this movie called Ballerina. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Well, no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so it's like a part of the John Wick universe, right? So he makes an appearance in it, and he's talking, right? He's like, "Yeah, I'll help you out," and he's talking, and then you look at his face, and you're like, "Holy shit! Like, did you age like within 1 year?" It looks like he was shot with like the old age pill, where like he dramatically, he was able to maintain his like. He looked the same for like 10 years. All of a sudden, he looks old and disheveled. And you're like, fuck, Keanu, like, what happened? But then again,
I just want you to know that man became an angel and came back to human. So yeah, that probably took a toll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, also he was John Constantine in that one movie. Like,
Yeah, Constantine.
Yeah.
I see things.
One movie.
The what?
You were like, he was
Like,
John
he was
Constantine in that one movie.
Constantine,
It was
you know, not
Constantine.
him.
Well, he wasn't an angel in Constantine.
No, but he was an angel in The Good Fortune, I think, with the one he just came out with Seth Rogen and his
yeah.
son Star.
Oh, Seth
He was
Rogen.
an angel in that movie.
I love Seth Rogen.
I can't stand him.
Seth
Like
Rogen.
he's always the same thing in every fucking movie,
You
like,
can't see
all right.
Seth Rogen?
Yeah, Seth Rogen. It's like bring in Seth Rogen. He's like,
He's the same idiot in every movie.
and it's like, all right.
This is
in this
the End
movie,
is one of my favorite movies.
That's
That
great.
movie was incredible.
in this movie, you're a scientist. Hurry up. We have the formula. And it's like, okay. Just like you guys ever seen Armageddon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hated it. It's terrible.
Me too. I fucking hated it because Billy Bob Thornton played a scientist and his hair is all like fucked up, and he was like, "Yeah, the asteroid's gonna come on down here," and then part of me is like, who's taking this fucking hillbilly serious as a scientist? If I were part of the the group, I was like, why is the janitor like telling us about what the fuck's going on at that whiteboard? You know, like, is he gonna get fired?
God,
Like,
that was
gonna...
such a bad movie.
It was so bad.
Well, I mean, that movie, I believe the movie was only made just to promote the Steven Tyler song, you know, stay with you, you know. I don't want to fall asleep yet. Don't want to miss. Anyway, so back to, that's a great song. Anyway, so
it was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, now that I sang it, people will be like, Steven Tyler singing his fucking song. Bring Deacon back. The way he sang it, fuck this song up for me. I want his version to sing it. While he's trying to like, yeah, Deacon.
I'm making that into short.
Oh,
yeah, Deacon, sing me that song while you sell me a tamale. So anyway, all right. Holy shit, we went past an hour. So this episode was actually really good. I had a lot of fun. So this episode was brought to you by the Shadow Nation podcast with Sean Burris in My Haunted Back Roads. Remember, America, I'm not getting older. I'm just getting better. And also, so check out the Shadow Nation podcast on YouTube. Sean Burris, great dude. Also by, they're right here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Also by Render the Dark.
I gotta do it.
I'm not doing the hand thing. I'm not doing it.
Don't say that.
Anyways,
Oh.
take it easy. I'm not singing.
I stand by that, okay? I'm not doing the hand thing.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, Render the Darkness. Check them out. Like and subscribe. Great show. I love the series of let's see what each one of these fucking states, what kind of atrocity happened there. These states should be ashamed of themselves and all the people there. So Render the Darkness. Check them out. Also by Dreamscape Chronicles. Check them out on Spotify. You guys like history? You guys like dark stories? You guys just like hearing about the vampires that were terrorizing London back in the 1800s. Check out Dreamscape Chronicles. Great people. They fixed the music issue, so you guys can, no longer say like, "Hey, I don't hear anything." Yeah, they fixed the music issues. Also brought to you by a lot of sponsors. Holy shit, a lot of people bringing the shit. Also brought to you by Nate Elwell in Paranormal Unveiled. He just has his book that I'm waiting on that he sent, I guess, a couple days ago. So I'm going to unbox that and I'm going to, just kind of maybe read a couple words from that book. And his book is called Nicolas Cage's Erotic Stories in the Haunted House. Guest starring Keanu
it's not.
Reeves. It could be. You don't know.
Are you ever going to say the actual name of his book?
No, that is the name.
No,
that is the name of the book. So check out his podcast, Paranormal Unveiled. Also on TikTok, you guys can check him out with.
I had to actually cough. I'm sorry.
So you guys can check him out on TikTok. Are you done?
Yes.
You're humiliating me. You make me think that my mom was right, and I never was gonna amount to anything.
I agree with your mom.
Yeah, well, of course you would. You're an evil woman. So all women are vipers, and I always tell people that. Like, did you hear? Like, of course she did. She's a woman. Anyway,
you have like 3 against 1 right now, right?
So Static Voices. He has great debunking videos that I really enjoy. So if you guys think that you saw the ghost of Keanu Reeves' stunt double, he'll look at it. He'll look at the video and he'll debunk it. Then you guys will look stupid. So also brought to you by, of course, the channel. Check us out at TeePublic. Check out our merch. I know I've been promising a new product, but I got a little bit behind, but I should finish it this week. So you guys stay tuned for that. We have mugs, we have shirts, we have hats, we have socks, we have fanny packs, we have all your needs, anything that your heart desires. We even have Avril Lavigne skirt. Anyway, so that is it. So remember, guys, and let me thank our guests. Thank you guys for coming on. Casey, Fallon, great guest, very intellectual. intellectuals, both of you. Great, fantastic. You know, you guys should come back, you know, and talk about haunted locations, you know, talk about scary stories and all that cool shit. So, well, get on the calendar, guys. Stay tuned. And that's it. So remember, guys, to always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Avril Lavigne's bus. Okay, that's it.
Okay, bye.
And this is the Nightmare Road!